What I think needs to happen in schools is financial literacy needs to be taught. Like, how do you manage your money? Where should you put it? How do you invest? And it's not being taught in schools, at least as far as I know. So we thought we'd talk to an expert on financial literacy. Are your kids learning this in school? Should they be learning this in school? It's Gary Rabbior, president of the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education. Good morning, Gary. Thanks for coming on with us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So listen, Gary, is this being taught in schools, at least to some extent, around Canada that you know?
Yes, to varying degrees across the country, it's actually being integrated and taught in Canadian schools. Different provinces are taking different approaches. I must say you should be happy with Manitoba. They're one of the most proactive in working with us to aim to integrate financial education. We've actually developed a program for them called Building Futures in Manitoba, which has lesson plans to help teachers integrate financial education into their courses. They've actually also taken the step of distributing our Money and Youth book to all grade 10 students on occasion. They're really interested and committed to trying to improve the financial literacy of Manitoba youth.
So what are they teaching them? Are they teaching them, how far their dollar actually goes? Are they teaching them, as early as 16 years old, you should invest your money, you pay yourself first, that kind of thing?
I think in many respects, a lot of what we certainly advocate and which they've been supportive of is you have to start thinking about your values. You have to start thinking about goals. We have to also help young people empower themselves to think they can achieve goals. It's funny, a lot of people think about financial education as teaching about credit cards and things like that, and that is certainly important. But ultimately what we're trying to do is change behavior or affect behavior so that they act and behave and make decisions in a way that are in their own best interest. And in some cases, that gets into what we teach kids beyond just the calculations and the numbers and things like that. It's having the belief that you can set a goal, plan, and achieve it. And if we can do that in general, then they'll apply that to their financial affairs as well. And to stay in control, to make your own decisions, to have confidence, to ask questions, to make sure you get the information you need to make a good decision. Those are all fundamental elements of financial education. Understanding there's a trade-off in every decision you make. You're going to give up something today or in the future. So pause and think about that. It'll help you make a better decision. So there's lots of things stemming from the fact of who you are, how you behave, how you stay in control, whether you have confidence and the capability to set an objective and achieve it. All those kinds of things roll into financial education.
Well, I'm happy to hear that they are starting to address that in public schools across the country, because as far as I'm concerned, it's far more useful in life than polynomials.
Yeah, there's a lot, going on. Part of the challenge, of course, is finding a way into the curriculum, which is crowded to begin with. We have a program that we have run for 4 years now called Talk with Our Kids About Money Day. It's the third Wednesday in April, and it's to try and help teachers and parents get started in talking with their kids about money. It's grown to where we've had about 5,000 schools and about 500,000 young people participating in that program. And it's really just, there's so many things you can do, but getting started is a key thing. And this one day is when we ask teachers to teach a lesson related to money. We encourage parents to have some kind of discussion, activity, experience, watch a movie that can trigger a conversation to get the conversation started. Because young people, we took a survey of over 6,000 young people, and it was very clear they want this information. They want to learn about money. And it was interesting when we gave them all the different ways you could learn about it, from apps, from games, and whatever. The number one place they wanted to learn was at home, and the second place was at school.
Hey, Gary, what about adults? I'm sorry to interrupt you. What about adults who don't know? Is it ever too late to actually start planning for your future? Let's say you're 40 and you've got nothing in the way of savings or any investments. How do you learn?
Well, I think in many respects, there's a lot of good resources. Part of the problem is right now that knowing the credible sources, of which there are many, we don't have a supply problem in Canada. We have a demand problem, and that is we need to have people believe that this can make a difference in their lives and take initiative to take on self-education, because once you're beyond school, as many of our population is and has not had this education, you really have to take the initiative to do it yourself. Now, we're trying to do other ways, take other approaches to doing it, such as workplace programs for Canadians so that we can help reach employees in the workplace. We're doing workshops for seniors, of which there's been extraordinary interest among seniors about financial aspects as well. Mm-hmm. And so there are other audiences that are definitely interested in this and anxious to learn learn. It's now bringing the two together, bridging them, demonstrating how they can learn, how it can make a difference in their lives. And we're really encouraged by the growing interest in this, partly in some cases by the problems, challenges, and mistakes people have faced, which is one of the things that we find among parents is they say, how can I teach my kid? Because I made these mistakes. And we tell them, you're probably in the best position to do so then, because you've learned from your mistakes. You can help your kids not make the same mistakes. And that
Hey, Gary, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're up against the time limit here. Have you got a website we can hit so we can get all this information?
Yeah, it's CFEE.org. It links to all of our programs, our Talk with Our Kids About Money, our Money and Youth, and all the others.
Okay, great. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us this morning. Wish I had more time.
Thank you.
All right, there's Gary Rabbior. He's the president of the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education. And speaking of